been a while since I've done one of these, but this one's a long one, over 26 minutes long. The next year for Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s career is one that's kind of similar to his other years. It's at DEI. It's kind of similar to some of his previous good years. He just never had the luck. A lot of mechanical failures in this one. You might have guessed what it is. So here's the next one for Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s career. 2007, a year that was kind of like the year previous, 2006, but with so many issues. So many issues. He only had 27 races at the finish, one of his least, I think, if not his least. Just so many mechanical issues, a lot of engine failures. He led 433 laps, which was pretty good. At that time, it was pretty similar to 2006, way better than 2005, and a lot better than his previous years at Hendrick. See right here from his results, he actually had 2 crew chiefs. Tony Jr. got suspended. Tony Gibson, who actually used to crew chief for Kurt Busch, filled in for a few races, and then towards the end of the season he also filled in as well. So actually did pretty good with Gibson. Maybe if they would have stayed together, that could have been a great dynamic pair at Hendrick Motorsports, but they never did get together. They kept Uri Jr. and then of course switched Lance McGrew. So the Daytona 500 kicked it off. McMurray into the wall late in the race, and then they all stack up behind. Jr. runs into the back of Ricky Rudd with nowhere to go, and the 8 cars all torn up, and will finish the Daytona 500 out of the race, DNF'd. A pretty hard crash for Dale Jr. Not the way he wanted to start his season out. You see right there, trying to control the car. Start the season off with a DNF in the Great American Race. See right there how torn up the car is. Smoke coming out of the car. The whole front end's crunched up. Can't even control the car trying to get it back going. See from his onboard, there's just nowhere to go. You have to hope for a hole to open up. And he just runs right in the back of Rudd there and spins them both out. Jr., of course, gets a ton of damage from it and takes him out of the race. Didn't really have a chance to win the 500, though. He wasn't really that fast. I don't think he even led a lap in that race. Move on to Auto Club, the second race of the season. Engine issues. He knew it was going to blow. Ends up blowing with 130 laps to go. He spins it out in the oil, but somebody keeps it out of the wall, surprisingly, because he got pretty close. But that ends his day, and it drops him to 40th in the points after 2 races. You can see right here, as he gets out of the car, he actually does a nice little bow, saying, "Hey, I did it. I kept it out of the wall." So here's from his handbrake. See here, just snaps loose because of all the oil he was in. And it spins around right there in 3 and 4, brings out the caution flag, and his first of many engine issues in 2007. We move on now to Martinsville a few races later, where Jeff Gordon's leading. He has an issue. Rain is coming, and Jr. drives right on by to get to the race lead. So Jr. leading at Martinsville. We move on a little bit later. Restart with 250 to go. That means we're at halfway, so if the rains came, it could potentially end the race. Right there, still leading on the restart and trying to pull away, trying to keep it out front in case the rain does come. Well, it turns out the rain comes. He's out front. He's leading the pace car. The pace car is leading him. Junior's right now out front. Rain delay. The rain is coming. We're past halfway. About 300 some laps have been run. If they call it due to rain, Dale Jr. would win here at Martinsville. It would be his first Martinsville win in his career, surprisingly, because he has led so many laps at Martinsville. He's done so well. He's just never been able to close the deal out. So here they're actually talking to him, asking him about the car, saying, "Hey, you're leading the rains here. Do you want to go back green?" and all that. They're talking about the car tomorrow, asking him how he feels about it. And in fact, he actually says this about his rookie year at Martinsville.
This is a lot better than a couple of 3 or 4 years ago when you were here at Martinsville for one of the first times, huh?
Yeah, we wrecked our car, a lot of other people's cars. I ran into a pace car, a record. We damaged about everything but the hot dog stand, because I really like that hot dog stand, of course.
And then we move on to Texas, the next race. A very great car. He was in second going to commercial. We come out of commercial and we see on a replay that Dale Jr. actually passed Jeff Gordon to get to the race lead. So Dale Jr. now out front at Texas and pulling away from Jeff Gordon. The fans reacting, going crazy as Dale Jr. dominating at Texas. He ends up leading a good amount of laps in this race. He ends up leading 96 laps out front, pulling away from Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, and some of the other Hendrick cars, who this is the year for the Hendrick cars. They won so many races. They did so well. He's right there going past some lap traffic for Junior. But he loves the car. He can go anywhere with it, high, low, middle, wherever he wants to go. It will go, and it will run fast. Right there, he's pulling away from Gordon, Johnson, and Kurt Busch. Getting past all these lap cars, and it's looking pretty good for the 8 car, possibly to get back to victory lane at the Texas Motor Speedway for the first time since his rookie year. Because right here, he's actually run up against the wall now. Previous clip, he was running all the way at the bottom, down against the white line. Now he's running all the way up against the wall. Classic Dale Jr. line, all the way up against the wall. And he's saying, man, I don't know if the outside lane's faster, but it's certainly a lot more fun than running the inside. And I don't think it was faster. I actually think it was a little bit slower. And then later in the race, he's running second to Kurt Busch. Tony Stewart's lap car is spun in turn 4 previously, spins again in turn 4. And Dale Jr. is slowing down in the smoke, and Kyle Busch balls to the walls into the smoke and rams the 8 car into the crash. And Busch and Jr. get taken out of this race. Jr. actually keeps in the race, but then some misfortunes later, see the rear end all torn up. That car is definitely drivable, but it won't have the same speed they had. Obviously, the aerodynamics will be all messed up, and that takes Dale Jr.'s chance of winning out the window. 81 to go to run second. He has shot. So right here, Tony Stewart spin. Jr. slowing down the smoke, and then right there, nailed from behind by Kyle Busch and up off the ground for Jr. Sierra here from his onboard. There's Stewart spinning, Jr. slowing, and right there gets hit by Kyle Busch into the crash. And nothing for Jr. to do there, just an instant bystander and all that. And then a little bit later in the race, engine issues. Once again, second engine DNF of the season. Takes the 8 car to the garage and out of the Samsung 500 at Texas. Here's an interesting tip.
The 5 car is back on track. After being involved in that crash, the driver is Dale Earnhardt Jr.
That's interesting.
Sure is. Kyle apparently had left the racetrack thinking the car had been withdrawn. We're not sure of that. We're making that assumption. They needed a driver, and there was Junior.
Kind of ironic since he actually does go drive for Hendrick Motorsports later. At Talladega, only leads 2 laps, and this is one of the 2 laps. He gets to the outside of Kurt Busch, and he leads for 2 consecutive laps right here, but never gets the lead back. He pulls alongside Kurt Busch. The fans going wild at Talladega. You know how it is. Listen to it. So a little bit later in the race, 6 laps to go. Jamie McMurray leading, David Reagan second, and Dale Jr. pushing Reagan forward. He has a huge run to the 6th, and where does he go with it? He's not going to push Reagan. He's going to go to the bottom and try and take it himself. Now he's going to go for the 2nd position. Side drafts Reagan, pulls him back. McMurray comes down to cover the spot. Jr., instead of trying to go around right here, which may have cost him actually the win, just pushes McMurray. He stays 2nd, and that might actually end up costing him the win because later on in the race, caution will come out. Jr. falls back to about 7th or 8th. Jeff Gordon's leading. Jeff Gordon obviously had one of the best cars of the day. And Jr. does not win. You see right here on the restart actually how crazy it was as cars are failing at high, low. Going through Tony Stewart there. In the background, they're wrecking. Big crash in the back. It'll end the race prematurely. And then trying to get back to the stripe. Cars wreck once again as the 38, the 20, all in it. Tony Stewart gets spun around. Jr. actually ends up finishing this race 7th and then makes this announcement a few races later.
I've told you all season long that when we have something to announce that we would announce it, so we're calling this press conference here today to announce that after a year of intense negotiations and intense effort on behalf of Dale Earnhardt Incorporated and JR Motorsports, that we decide that it's time for us to move on and seek other opportunities to drive for a new team in 2008. We both worked extremely hard to find common ground, but as the negotiations continued, one thing became evident. We both want to be and get to the same place, but we both simply have different visions on how to get there.
You can kind of think about Teresa Earnhardt was saying this. See, Teresa, before the 2017 started, said he has to focus more on racing and not being a public personality. Definitely strike the heart on Junior there. Junior said that when reports came out that Teresa wouldn't fly him to the track because he wanted to bring Brenda Jackson, his actual mother, with him. He denied that, and then he said that if he was going to stay with DI, he wanted control of the company, 51% to Teresa's 49%. And the last one, Kevin Harvick sticking up for Dale Jr. here, saying that he needs to not be treated like he is, and it's a deadbeat owner. That's who Teresa is, he says. Of course, some other things Junior says right there. Obviously, a lot of tension between Teresa and Dale Jr. So when we move on to Charlotte, the Coca-Cola 600, pit strategy there at the end with under 10 to go. Tony Stewart comes down pit road, leaves Dale Jr. with the race. Jr., of course, comes down pit road a little bit later. He does not win the race, but you think that maybe if he could have tried to save fuel, he possibly could have won. But they were probably banking on either a caution or not everyone being able to make it. So right here, Junior will surrender the race lane. Nice camo paint scheme, by the way, as he's going to come down pit road this time. So he leads 1 lap in the Coca-Cola 600 right there when Stewart pits. He pits, gives the lead to Denny Hamlin, and Casey Mears. Mears actually ends up winning the race right here. Junior kind of smokes the tires going onto pit road. They just take fuel, only about 2 seconds of fuel, really. It was a pretty fast stop. And then a few races later, after Pocono, he announces who he's going to be driving for in the 2008 season, and might not have been what people expected.
And so today, it is with great honor to introduce my new boss for 2008, Mr. Rick Hendrick.
So you may have wondered, why did Dale Jr. not bring the 8 to Hendrick Motorsports? Well, he says it's because of Teresa Earnhardt's stepmother. She did not want to give it up. He's not surprised. He's pretty angry about it. He said he wasn't surprised, though. He knew he wasn't going to get the number, and he said he didn't want to bring it personal, but he definitely did blame it on her and said ridiculous requests. If he did bring the 8, she wanted some contracts with it and all that. Move on to New Hampshire. A few races later, Junior driving past Kurt Busch, and he'll grab the race lead. He'll actually go on and lead a few laps here in this race. In this car tomorrow, he actually ends up leading 64 laps of the 300, and this is one of the races with Tony Gibson. Gibson actually comes in at Charlotte. He'll leave actually after Loudon, but a great result here. He actually ends up getting a top 10 result. I believe it's actually 4th top 5. Yeah, he actually does get a top 5 result in 4th. And New Hampshire, one of those tracks where Junior was always very good at in his career. He could just never pull out a win somehow, some way. He actually never won at New Hampshire in his career. A lot of top 5s, a lot of top 10s, though. As you can see, he's actually pulling away from Kurt Busch and Jamie Johnson. And fun fact, Tony Jr. was actually at this race on the backstretch. He had a bus, an RV, that he was on the backstretch, kind of outside the track, watching the race from his bus. So we move on to Daytona, a crash with Tony Stewart and Denny Hamlin, 2 teammates, 2 guys leading the race, and then Junior and some others trying to avoid it, and they get involved, and Junior, with all the damage, he ends up actually just riding around the rest of the race, up against the walls, trying to stay out of the way, and finishing many laps down, just riding around, not fun. So they're spinning in the grass. Another nice patriotic scheme right there. Budweiser always had those great patriotic schemes. So right there, sitting in the grass, trying to get it going. He does, but there's some heavy damage to the 8 car, and it's going to take him out of contention for another Daytona win. So the restrictor plate tracks have not been too fond to Dale Jr. in 2010 right there. 41 and the 8 get together, and they're involved in the crash. And then Junior gets into Stewart as he's coming across the grass and kind of turns Stewart back up the track. Junior spins around the grass across the Pepsi logo. And as you can see right there, Hamlin and Stewart get together from the race lead, and then others just start piling in, trying to slow down, trying to get out of the way, and they're just not able to do it. Right there, across the grass, spins around. We're on to Indianapolis, a track that's not really famous for Dale Jr. doing well, but look at this. To the inside, Stewart's trying to go on a restart, only lap 19. He started up towards the front, and here he is marching. As he comes off of 4, he's going to get to the inside. Stewart's actually going to get by him. A quick caution comes out right after he gets by him, sets him up for a restart where he's out front. And Junior pulling away on the restart, showing that he has one fast car. He's here on the restart. Green flag waves. He pulls away from Tony Stewart and the others behind. Can he get a win to get in the chase? Right now he's on the bubble of making the chase. He's either in right now or just outside. He was always, around the summer months, he was either 12th to 14th in the points. He's never really any higher, never really any lower. As you can see right there going through the corners, how fast that car was and how many laps he led.
He has now led more laps today than he has his entire career at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
And then you can see right there, he actually hit one of the rumble strips down one of the corners, and it messed up the valence just a little bit and actually slowed him down, created some drag and a little tight condition in the corners, so they had to repair that. He actually falls back to just inside the top 10. He was pretty much 6th to 8th after that, maybe 5th to 8th, and he was just hoping for maybe a caution to try and get caught back up after they actually fixed it. He's still leading at this point, but a little bit later in the race, he actually does surrender the race lead and falls back to the mid part of the top 10. I wouldn't say back part of the top 10, mid part of the top 10. And then later in the race, the engine blows. 25 to go. He's running 6th, and there goes the engine up in smoke. And the chase chances take a huge hit because of this. If he possibly could have finished where he was, running 6th, 5th, he maybe could have had a shot at the championship, a lot better shot. But now he's coasting around, trying to get back to the pits. So right there down the front stretch, just blows up. Another engine issue for Dale Jr. in 2007. Big theme of this year. Constant was engine issues, engine issues, engine issues. Listen from his onboard.
Blowing up, blowing up.
22-year-old Dale Earnhardt Jr. becomes the 12th different Bud Pole Award winner, but picks up his first pole in almost 5 years. He'll be flanked by Dodge driver Kurt Busch.
So Dale Jr. wins the pole at Pocono. He's running top 5 for He's holding his own. He spins, come off a 3. Caution comes out. He comes down period, gets the tires back on, and gets going, stays on the lead lap. Fun fact about that spin. At the time, he had said it was too bad, the ill-handling race car. The shock was not good, and he spun around because of how bad the handling was. He actually spun out on purpose so he can replace a shock. They didn't want to replace a shock under green. They'd lose too much time. They needed a caution without losing the track position. He already lost track position after spinning, so they replaced the shock, and the 8 car came to life on the next few restarts. So he spins down, luckily keeps out of the inside wall and all that. On the next few restarts, he drives up through the field and passes the 41 to get to the race lead, and the Pocono fans feeling it. Dale Jr. out front at Pocono. Listen to the crowd. Obviously a very enthusiastic crowd. So that happens with 55 laps to go, and it's hard to believe that only about 20-some, 30-some laps ago, he had spun out. So with about 80 laps to go, he was sideways going down pit road, and that was about 25 laps ago. Now he's out front leading at Pocono. So the drive is still there for Dale Jr. to try and make the chase. He went from spinning 25 laps ago to the race lead, trying to break that longest winless streak of his career. As you can see right here a little bit later in the race, still leading and actually pulling away from the 41 to 2. But Kurt Busch, the dominant car of the day, who led more than half the race, is coming forward. And then later in the race, Kurt Busch actually hangs on to win, dominating the race. Dale Jr. ends up finishing second. So a great day out of the 8 team. They turned what could have been bad into a great result. At Watkins, Glen is running inside the top 5, running third. And the engine once again lets go. So once again, the chase chances take a huge hit, an even bigger hit this time. There's only a few races left for the chase. They don't really have much left. They were running third. They had a shot to try and gain points on Kurt Busch and some others. Kevin Harvick trying to get up there. So here entering turn 1, he's running in the 3rd position behind Kurt Busch. And right there, the engine lets go. Edwards drives to the inside, but there's no drive for that 8 car. And another engine issue in 2007. Once again, a common theme of this season. So many engine issues, and derails him down to, I believe he finishes in the 40s here in this Watkins Glen race. And sucks because he had a great car too. You see he stops in the bus stop and brings out the caution, but he's done for the day. Then we move on to California, another race where he needs to do well. It's the second to last race, I believe, before the chase. He needs to make something happen. Well, he makes something happen right here. A 3-wide move to the bottom lane. Jeff Burton in the middle. Kyle Busch all the way up top. And Jr. gets the side draft out the 31 right here. Little close, but he pulls alongside. 3-wide move for the race lead. Only 81 laps into the race. He drives down to the inside and clears both of them. He ends up leading for about 15 laps in this race. Not too bad. He actually ends up for a top 5 spot. So the 8 car coming to life 2007. A great season with speed, but not a great season in terms of how the equipment held up. The reliability for that equipment. Here he actually pulls away. Kyle Busch with that run off the top trying to get to him. Jr. actually ends up leading for about 10-11 laps in this stretch, and then he led at least 1 lap pretty much after that and finished top 5 in the race. Once again, another good car, but just could not hang on, did not have the winning car. He didn't have the speed to win. So we move on to the final race before the chase. Richmond, he needs something big to happen. He needs to win the race. He has to have Harvick finish 33rd or lower, I believe it is. And as the rains come, or I believe this is actually under a red flag because of a big crash, he's running in the 2nd position. He actually has a shot to make the chase if he could possibly get up there, and Harvick has submission right here with 50 laps to go. He's running 3rd. Gordon and Johnson, the Hendrick teammates, are 1-2, and look at Jr. go. Going for 2nd underneath Jeff Gordon. He knows this is his only shot to win and get into the chase. He needs everything he can to happen. Look at this, just this amazing battle between Jr. and Gordon. It goes on for a few laps. Completely amazing. They're side by side. No one's giving an inch. Gordon's like, hey, maybe I should give an inch. I don't want him to wreck me because of how hard he's going to try to get into the chase. Right there. Great drive off the corner for the 8 car. That nice Elvis Budweiser white number 8 car. One of my most favorite paint schemes of his, I must say. As he drives going up the track a little bit, trying to clear him, trying to get to 2nd, have a shot to run down Jimmy Johnson. He actually never led a lap in this race, as of course he didn't win it. He did not make the chase in 2007. Right there, he's going to try and clear Gordon off of 4. Still can't get it done right there. Gordon with the drive off the top. And now there's only 47 laps to go at Richmond. He drives it hard to the bottom in turn 1, trying to clear Jeff Gordon off of 2. It looks like he has a shot right there. Can't clear him quite yet. Then he does, entering turn 3. So Dale Jr. grabs the second position over Jeff Gordon, trying to run down Jimmy Johnson. 47 laps left, but can he do it is the big question. Well, he can't, because he ends up battling with Tony Stewart and David Reagan for a second. This battling for a second with 7 to go, and the engine expires once again on the 8 car, and his chase hopes go up in smoke, literally, for Dale Earnhardt Jr. And this is actually an interesting stat on his 2007 season.
How appropriate is that, given the fact that he's had 5 DNFs this year and 4 of them have been engine-related issues?
But it's not to be. What are your thoughts?
Just disappointing to lost another motor tonight, and seems like that's just been a theme of this season for us. The struggle with the new fuel. We had great power, we just can't keep them together when we put them in my car for some reason.
A year ago, another big name, Tony Stewart, was left out of the chase, but he turned it into a positive. Won 3 races. Do you feel like this team's capable of doing something like that here in 2007?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I run good every week. We just ain't finishing races. You know, we're running the top 5 every week. You know, we ain't in the chase. We deserve to be in the chase. And, you know, wish we were for my fans. But we'll give them something to cheer about. We race hard. We don't quit. We love racing. That's what we do. So we'll be all right. Just disappointing, man. These dang motors.
Well, you can see that there's still celebration, believe it or not, between him and his crew chief, Tony Uri Jr. right now.
Skip ahead to a few races left in the chase. Junior actually running inside the top 10. He qualified, I believe, 6th in this race. Lap 1. Look at this move he makes on lap 1. This really has nothing to do with the season, but this is just a cool move. Look at that. Through the middle. Gets Riggs loose and makes the pass. Again, that has nothing to do with his season, but I just thought it was a cool move. Thought I would include it. Move on to Talladega. His best shot to win for the rest of the season. Here he is leading the race. Lap 34, 188. He gets up front. And once again, that classic Dale Jr. just dragging everyone along the top side, single file. Getting everyone to a nice little, just cruise around the top. Do whatever you want. And if you want to make a move down low, be my guest, he says, as he's leading the field around the topside Talladega. The Pied Piper of these restrictor plate tracks is back and looking to win at Talladega for the 6th time in his career, and doing a pretty good job. He actually leads a good amount of laps in this race. He leads 31 laps, so not too bad there. Pretty good race for him. Shows that DEI program back on restrictor plates. Obviously, it's not going to be DEI the next year. Showing that they're back for the end of this year, and then once again, it's like it's on replay. Blows an engine running in the pack. And another DEI engine-related issue. This is the 3rd ECR engine to blow in this exact race. Martin Truex Jr. and Jeff Burton, who were both in the chase, also had issues, and then Dale Jr., his engine lets go just a few laps later. So obviously, ECR engines not having the season they wanted. Jr. having so many engine-related issues. I believe it's like 5 that he had in the season. As you see right here, just from the replays, running in the pack, running around 8th, 9th, 10th, and the engine just lets go right here. Big plume of smoke, one of the biggest smoke shows that he put on the year, actually. Fontana would probably be the biggest one when he just spun it around, kept it out of the wall. So it goes back through the pack, ends up finishing the race out. Atlanta, he's running 3rd on the final restart, 2 to go, and the wheel just comes off. I really don't know how that happens. I don't know what luck you have to have in 2007 for that to happen, but the wheel comes off and he slams the wall hard. It's a very hard hit. The wheel trying to complete the race for him. See right here, the wheel's going around the outside wall. Maybe it could try and complete the race for him. It actually doesn't, but you never know. So here from the replay, it just, the wheel comes off and it just goes around. Like, I don't know what happened, but it broke big time, and he collects Jamie McMurray. Both of them just innocent bystanders. Junior just running along 3rd on the final restart, trying to get anything he can. Thought that maybe he could win the race. He had a pretty good car that day too. So many great cars this season that just turned wrecked or blown up. So right there, the wheel goes up hard into the outside wall, and Junior follows it, and McMurray nowhere to go in all that. So we go to the 2nd to last race of the season at Phoenix, and it's not good. Not good at all. He finishes 43rd, I believe it is, after crashing on the backstretch hard. He hit the inside wall pretty hard right here. The right front all torn up. As you can see on this replay, he just loses it. He gets like flat loose as the car snaps around him off of turn 2 and spins down towards the inside. He ends up finishing 43rd in this race here. They're spinning down towards the inside, and he's going to make some pretty hard contact with the right front of his car into this inside wall. And I believe Dr. Jerry Punch sums it up perfectly about how this season has gone for him and how he just wants it to be done.
This year probably can't end soon enough for Dale Earnhardt Jr. It has been a 60-race winless streak.
Well, Homestead, final race with DEI, an era of the DEI. He goes off track trying to get into pit road, trying to get back into pit road, and kind of squeezes Kyle Busch and Scott Riggs. Busch runs into him and spins Junior on pit entrance. The yellow actually comes out for this. This around lap 50. Now, keep lap 50 in your mind. Think about how long a caution usually is. On the following restart, the restart after this, he gets wrecked. The luck for this season has been outstanding. This race kind of just sums it up perfectly. If only he had blown an engine, it would have really described how 2007 went in a nutshell for Dale Jr. So right there, against the outside wall, his final race for DEI. It's not going to end how he wanted it to. An era of DEI going to finish out in the 30s with a damaged race car. So here from the replay on board Jeff Burton. Obviously, the sun you can't see, they all checked up, and Junior got run to the back of hard into the outside wall. Junior ends up finishing his career with DI in the 36th position, off pace, damaged here, just running along, 89 laps to go, out on the track, trying to just finish the race, try and get anything he could out of it. And era of DI ends, and a new era with Hendrick Motorsports begins after this race. That's the red number 8, done for the rest of Dale Jr.'s career. I'll see you guys for the next season.